David Roche. David Roche was facially disfigured. He was born that way. And his disfigurement was a real challenge for him because you can't really hide your face. And our face often, people make so many assumptions or judgments, or there's that turning away, kind of not wanting to look at the face. So really, for a large portion of his life, he struggled a lot. Was an alcoholic, had a lot of problems, and then finally started to discover the gift that was within this disfigurement that he hadn't really thought about before.
It's taken me a long time to feel beautiful, because I never talked about my face. That was one thing. And I drank to cover that up too. That's another part of it. When you're self-medicating. When I was middle-aged, I found my voice and I started talking about my appearance. And it's sort of, I've lived out things that were I really fortunate. I might have started learning them when I was younger, but I'm grateful that I've learned them. Feel comfortable with myself, and I'm able to be myself. It seems like a miracle to them. Like those people who look like me aren't supposed to feel confident and comfortable in their own skin. So I think people like that.
So he talks about starting an Institute of Beauty, and he actually has started that since this short film was made, and that was by Nick Askew, who is an amazing, he does these soul biographies, really reframing beauty entirely, and saying that if you think about beauty as acts of kindness and support that you're reaching out and sharing with other people, every single one of us can be beautiful. So he says to know it, grow it, and show it, your inner kindness, and release that. Huge portion of my work is about kindness and connecting and building bridges between people and culture through story, and really serving people to see the potential and possibility that exists within every single one of us. Every single one of us has a gift. Every single one of us has a talent or a skill that once we start sharing that with other people, that's where impact can really happen. And realizing that gift in oneself and sharing it, truly that is where beauty comes from. Absolutely. It's not what we look like, but how we engage with each other. David speaks about really discovering our inner beauty. And the idea that the inner beauty is not at all about our physicality, but it's about our character and what makes us beautiful as a human being. What makes us beautiful as a human being? And he asks people to contemplate what makes other people that you have encountered along your journey, what makes them beautiful to you? So I want you to think about that for a minute, and think about someone that you really consider is beautiful. In fact, close your eyes and picture that person, someone that you just find really beautiful, a beautiful character, a beautiful soul, someone that you perhaps admire and you're picturing them. Their beauty that you're seeing, is it about what they look like? Or is it about their actions? And maybe it's a combination of the two, and that's fine. So picture that for a moment more. Did anyone have someone come to mind that you just find really beautiful in how they are as a person? Someone that you know, some of you are nodding their heads. Does anyone want to share who that person that came into your head was? Does anyone want to share who it was? I'd like to share over here? Yeah.
Okay. Well, my definition of beautiful, I thought of my mother actually. Because she's like someone who will invite like anybody into the house completely. I mean, heck, it's like my best friend and she has like a room in her house. And like she'll invite anybody. We had a cousin who got kicked out of his house and he came to live with us for a while.
So her welcoming attitude and her generosity of spirit is what you find beautiful. That's it, positivity. That is a beautiful trait.
The person I was thinking of was a friend I met 2 years ago in Boston. Her name's Amaya, and since knowing her, she's really brought a lot of optimism and a lot of light to my life. She's one of the most positive people I've ever met. Even when I was in Africa with her and she got malaria, she was still one of the most positive people I have. It was really remarkable. So yeah, that's great.
So again, positivity, her positive spirit that kept going. I think of my grandmother, who had eyes that always smiled and was similar to your mother in that the door was always open. In fact, my grandmother never locked the door. The door was never locked in case someone might need to come in and might need a meal or might want to talk or might want a cup of coffee. So the door was always open, and that generosity made her so beautiful to me. And her eyes, I remember when my cousin Lee, who's a photographer, wanted to take my grandmother's photograph as a Christmas present for everyone one year because Grandma was such a huge influence on the whole family. And Grandma kept saying, "Why would anyone want a picture of me?" And we would say, "I guess we see something far more than what you're seeing, because we see these eyes that just, they smile and they light up and they sparkle." So thinking about that, beauty, the inner beauty. And then he extends that further to think of beauty as kindness and the support that we lend to others. Definitely, kindness, I think, is the number one gift we can offer to people. And often it doesn't cost anything at all to smile, to share a heartfelt compliment, to hug someone, to sit and talk with someone if they look like they might need someone to talk to. Taking a moment, it can make all the difference in the world. And it really is not about what we look like, but how we engage and interact with each other. That's what makes all the difference for us. And we don't have to be perfect. Finding the beauty in the flaw. None of us are perfect. We weren't meant to be perfect. That was never the plan for any of us. And when we start to strip away all these layers we think we need to have and we get to the real authentic person underneath, that's who people gravitate towards. That's who people want to be around. If you've ever noticed, there are certain people that walk into a room and everyone wants to be in the space with them. And it's not necessarily the most attractive person. It's this confidence, it's this spirit that the person has. You're not in your head. Yeah, we all know people like that. And allowing ourselves to find that within ourselves. Of simply being who you are and not feeling like you have to put on a particular show for anyone. To just really truly be who you are. So thinking about those things that you perceive as flaws and how can you flip it around and what might be underneath, that's a beautiful gift for you and for others too. And exercising is